Hello, Applied Pre-Cal. We are moving into our last unit, which is going to be roots. I've only got about a week to record these videos, so you probably don't have enough time to get through all the work, but we'll do our best. Blabbering about it isn't really helping right now, so let's jump right into the unit. So in elementary school, you learned that adding and subtracting were opposites. And in middle school, you would have learned that multiplying and dividing are opposites, so you can work with one or the other to reverse your operations. In high school, we're going to look at roots, and there's different types of roots because they're the opposite of another type of operation that you worked with before. Roots are the opposite of powers, and powers is something you worked on in grade 9. That's when you have an exponent. The opposite of working with an exponent or a power would end up being some type of root, and you've seen some of those before. For instance, you've seen the square root, and the square root happens to be one of our special cases. So if you have a power of 2, when we square something, we're describing a square. So the opposite would have to be a square root. And you've seen what that symbol looks like. We've also at some times used a 3. So we've cubed something. A cube describes something in 3 dimensions, so the opposite of that would have to be a cube root. These are two of the special cases that we use so frequently that they get special cases. All of their cases are going to be named after the number of the power. So for instance, if I had a power of 4, so an exponent of 4, I would call that a fourth. The root of that would be a fourth root. If I had an exponent of 10, I could call that a 10th. So the root of that would be a 10th root. And that's the same for any number. So you could have a 5, which is a 5th, so it would be a 5th root. You could have a 27, which could be a 27th, and the root of that would be a 27th root. And if I just get you to look up for a second, that is the symbol for a root. It's kind of a weird one because it covers the entire number that you're working with. And the type of root that you're dealing with, you put that number up in the top left corner of the root. Now it's weird because whenever you work with square roots, you've never seen a 2 in the corner before. And that's because we use square roots so often that it's one of those special cases, again, where we just ignore that there's a 2. It's kind of like when we have an exponent of 1, it doesn't change the number, so we don't write it. Well, in this case, we use square roots so often that we just don't write the 2. But if I was doing a cube root, I would have a 3 in the corner here. If I was doing a 27th root, I'd have a 27 in the corner up here. The rest of my number, the entirety of my number, ends up going in this space. So I didn't want this video to be too long. I just wanted to introduce you to what roots are. There's a lot of theory and stuff like that in place. If I can find some practice, I will give you a couple of questions to look at, and then we'll look at how, we'll look at the grade 10 applied pre-cal side of things shortly.